yolks in it. Like, all these things, like, the purposeful approach of a technique, that was something I learned immediately from him.
Yeah.
And it was so important for my chef career to differentiate a bad technique from a good one. And that the good ones took time.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Fucking. So what did you decide to do after that time?
So I spent about 6 months with, Tucker's Bistro. This sous chef at the time was someone who had trained at a lot of restaurants, had been to New York and back to Rhode Island. And Chef John was like, honestly, if I were you, like, I'd go to culinary school and just get the exposure that you need.
Yeah.
Even though lots of chefs don't recommend that today, I felt like it was a good recommendation.
Yeah. Why is that?
Only because of the people that I ended up meeting in culinary school inspired me to push harder. So I got to culinary school. I chose Johnson & Wales over CIA. Even though I got a full ride to CIA, I wouldn't have to pay a cent, which
really?
is huge because Rick helped me do that. And so he wrote all my recommendations and everything. And so that was really big for me. And it was closer to home, it was in New York.
Yeah.
But I went to the CIA one day, and I thought it was, like, very geeky and very, like, nerdy, like, kind of just, like, not fun. And I went to Johnson Wales, and they were all, like, partying and getting drunk, and I was like, this is what I've been doing the last 2 years, so this is what I'm trying to do for the next 2 years as well, while I learn how to cook. So, and I said, like, one of my friends, Phil, he ended up going to CIA at that time, so I did have a good option to go there and, like, be his roommate and do that whole thing, but I also had a great friend who wanted to just go to Johnson & Wales. It was more affordable, it was easier to get into, and he didn't have the years of, the 6 months or whatever, so he just ended up going to Johnson & Wales together, getting an apartment together, doing the whole thing together.
Yeah.
After I graduated, I did my internship. You'd have to do an internship for the program. And that internship, I got really lucky. One of my father's friend's sons just got promoted from Spice Market to, like, the John George restaurant that was, like, 3 Michelin stars at the time. And he was like, I'll get you in.
Yeah.
So I got an internship there. And just being exposed to those chefs and those cooks there, I mean, a lot of them already have Michelin star restaurants. It's pretty impressive. Thomas McKenna rings a bell. One of the most impressive cooks I've ever seen. Juan Tang, he has the Rooster or the Red Rooster or something. No, it's not the Red Rooster. It's the Rooster and Owl down in D.C. He's got a Michelin star. Matt Crowley, his brother Chris Crowley is a writer and does a lot of stuff in New York, but Matt's an incredible chef in his own right. He's crushing it and definitely about to open up his own restaurant in D.C. Will definitely get that star. Like, these guys all were huge influences on, like, getting stars, being a legit chef, like, pushing hard, like, doing technique perfectly, organizing your day, like, more than just, like, talking recipes and cooking through cookbooks, like, being a really legit chef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard that.
So, those chefs were huge. At the end of that internship, they tried to offer me the position and try to not get me to go back to school and just kind of jump into it. But I was really, really grateful. One of the chefs who had worked at Alinea at the time, I think it was Chef Cole, he kind of came up to me and was like, dude, if you stay, like, you're gonna be an angry person. If you go travel first and you mature as a person and then you come back and try to do this one day, like, you'll be able to handle the pressure better. Mm-hmm. And, like, traveling is something I wish I did and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I jumped into it too early and now I'm 24 and, like, this is it for me. And I was like, oh shit, like, maybe I should rethink this. So, like, I decided to just bail on the whole idea and go back to school for the last 2 months and then just see where the road took me.
Yeah. That's crazy, though, that at 24 he was like, I failed.
Yeah, like, I think that some chefs' perspectives, they really want to push you harder into the industry, push you harder into the technique, and then some people resented it and tried to express that to the younger chefs. I don't think you should not take away from anyone's experience, but to help them guide them to different experiences, I think that everyone's opinion has weight. So
100%.
I'm glad he said it.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
So you went back, finished school.
Finished school.
Yeah, where do you get a job after that?
After that, I decided to like take his advice on traveling, and so I did. I put a couple countries in a hat.
Yeah?
Pick a country out of a hat.
Who'd you get?
I chose Australia.
Okay.
Which was a huge relief because at the time Spain and France were in that hat, and I was incredibly intimidated by the language barrier.
Yeah.
Like learning every tool, every sauce name, everything in another language was incredibly intimidating.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would have finished my year.
Yeah.
So Australia came out. I applied online. I couldn't even believe how easy it was to get a working holiday visa. I got one in like an hour. They sent me an email back and they were like, there you go, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So I went over to Australia. I found a really cool place to live. The rules of the place to live was that no two people from the same country could live in the same... Like, there were 6 guys, 6 girls, all lived in the same place, but no one could be from the same country. So it gave everyone the ability to kind of have some diversity.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like 2 people from Holland just like standing in the corner,
yeah,
ditching everyone. It gave everyone to apply the same effort to be like a
nice person.
Yeah, like a nice person. Everyone's trying to learn English, so like Australians and English and people from London and England and people from America, like they all had an incredible advantage because everyone wanted to learn English from them. So it was like cool to kind of like get there and people wanted to learn from you. Even though I was so young and all my roommates were so much older, they like wanted to learn from me, which was so cool because I wanted to learn from them like life experiences, and they had so many. So it was really cool. And I got my first job. I got there, went big, real big. Thought the best restaurant in Sydney, best restaurant at the time was Australia. It was a restaurant called Quay.
Okay.
Quay.
Yeah.
And
Cookbook is crazy.
I thought I could handle it because I was coming from John George, thinking I was that restaurant. I was everything. I could do everything. And, I mean, they were doing 16-hour shifts.
Yeah.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
And, like, my first 3-day weekend, I think I slept the first 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
I woke up on the 3rd day and I was like, fuck, I have work tomorrow. I was like, nah, like, this place is not for me. It's like I did 1 more week and I told them, like, money, no money, like, this just isn't for me. And I went across the street to a restaurant called Aria. Another famous chef on the water, really fine dining. I stayed there about 2 months. I ended up quitting because the head chef... My station partner was the sous chef.
Yeah.
So the sous chef wanted his sauces hot, and I would put up the sauces. I would season them last minute. I'd bring them to the pass. And one time I brought up the sauce, and it wasn't hot enough.
Yeah.
So he came over, and he put the saucepan on the stove. He put the spoon in there, and he let it boil. And he picked the spoon up out of the fucking pot, and he pushed it against my face. And he, like, burned my whole, like, side of my face. And he was like, that's how hot I want the sauces when it comes to the pass.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I quit. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, whatever that is. And I remember going downstairs and just going to head chef and just being like, him or me, like, he's abusive. I'm new. Your call. And he was just like, I'm going to keep the sous. And I was like, that's cool. Like, I'm out. Like, I didn't have any ties to it. I didn't have any letdowns. I just knew that was not the place for me if that type of intensity was happening.
Yeah.
So, I bailed.
Gotcha.
I just told him I would quit. And I bounced around for another couple months, restaurant here, restaurant there. Got yelled at by this chef. Did this charcuterie program at another restaurant.
Yeah.
Just like doing, exposing myself. I did a bakery for a little bit, for a month. Like just learning stuff as much as I could.
Yeah.
Well, the real big scheme is partying. Like, every job gives you 4-day weeks and 3 days off, so you can go party. Like, even them want you to go explore Australia.
Yeah.
Like, the locals. So, as a traveler, you want to go there and see what you got to see. And so, I did a couple of restaurants there, here and there, and I ended up trying to move over to Bondi Beach out of the downtown city, and pretty cool vibe there. Completely different change from downtown Sydney to like the beach vibe. It's almost like going from San Francisco to LA.
Okay.
It's a completely different feeling down there. I lived on the beach. I worked on the beach. So you could walk there. If you got too fucked up the night before, you could just pass out on the beach and wake up and be like ready to fucking go.
Yeah.
And like that was incredibly, like I was like, shit, I get too fucked up all the time. Like this is great. I'm too young. Let's do this.
Sleeping on that sand must be so nice.
It was amazing. It was incredible. And like I did it all the time. I just came back at 4 a.m. and I was like, I'm not going back into the apartment. Like I got work in 2 hours. Let's go. Like I just sleep on the beach for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And get back in there.
Get back in there.
And they were cool. Like you wanted to take a break, they would give you a surfboard and they're just like, bro, get in there. Clear your head.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, that was cool to see that first lifestyle, like go get fucked up, but here's your brotherhood, here's your protection. Like people were backing you, people were covering your shift if you couldn't make it. It was pretty cool to see. Learned a ton of techniques that still stick with me today, which says a lot because I saw a lot after this, but it's pretty cool. I ended up, after moving to Bondi Beach, I ended up working at a restaurant called Sean's Panorama for 2 months.
Okay.
And it was like a very hardcore farm to table. This guy Sean had his own farm and he brought everything in the morning and we just kind of created the menu.
Okay.
And that was like the first time someone kind of gave me a skill set to kind of come up with my own stuff with the ingredients and my first taste of creativity, which was huge. And after 2 months, I like no-showed like 2 times in a row or something, and they just fired me. And I was like, all right, I got to learn from this. And, like, stop fucking around. These are people's businesses. These are people's lives. They count on me. And even though I did get let go, that was the moment that like that was the lesson. Like, actions have consequences.
Yeah, 100%.
I went down to the end of the beach. And I got a really sick job at Bondi Icebergs, which is like a famous restaurant, steakhouse, Italian joint. Really good food, really good techniques. Got to work with a lot of the guys that trained at Key, so it was good full circle to kind of see them. And they like promoted me quickly and moved me up from garde manger to pasta station, from pasta station to the grill station to the saute station. So I got to get my full exposure in like about 5 months to the end of my year visa. I got to really get exposed as a cook and see different stations and like kind of develop some sort of skill set.
Yeah, exactly. It can be daunting being in a kitchen not knowing how to cook.
Yeah, like every technique kind of came new. So it's like one thing after another felt like a huge challenge.
Yeah.
But after moving from station to station and mastering each one, you feel really confident in training other people. And so that's what gave me my big sense of confidence in the kitchen, because they promoted me so quickly through each. Every couple weeks I felt like I was getting a promotion, and that was huge for me. And at the end, I only could stay there for a year. So at the end, the government of Australia legit sent me a letter in the mail, like, you have to leave.
Yeah.
Like, I figured I could just stay for an extra couple months.
And
kick back.
And they wouldn't know.
And they were just, like, I figured if I didn't work, like, I wasn't getting paychecks, how would they know? I just, like, quit my job, and then they sent me a mail, like, 3 weeks later, like, don't even try it, bro.
Yeah.
You see this shit all the time. Get the fuck out of here.
That's funny. God damn.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
They're not fucking around over there, huh?
I did a good trip in New Zealand after that for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
A couple cool restaurants before I head back. My roommate before that from Johnson Wales, he had his first child then over the year that I was in Australia. So I came back, and the baby was already born. So this was like a new...
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like... none of our friends were like married or even close to married, or most of them didn't have girlfriends. So the fact that he was having a baby was like a big thing for our friend group. It was kind of like a wake-up call. Like, you're home.
Yeah.